Good morning. Welcome to our cybersecurity briefing. My name is Karen Torres Ruiz. I have a master's degree in cybersecurity and I work as a field service engineer for ASi. Today, I'm going to explain the main concepts of cybersecurity, some common attacks, and how to prevent them. Cybersecurity is based in three main principles: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. These three principles together are called CIA triad. Confidentiality is the property that information should be seen only by authorized users. For example, sensitive or confidential information, such as employee records, should only be seen by authorized personnel. Integrity is the property that information should only be modified by authorized users. For example, sensitive or confidential information, such as employee records, income data, and client lists, should only be updated or changed by authorized personnel. Availability is the property that information is accessible and modifiable anytime for those authorized users that want to do so. For example, a user that has been given permissions to sensitive data should be able to access that information anytime and be able to modify the data when needed. Let's talk now about the most common attacks. I'm going to mention them first and then I will explain them. Social engineering. We have under this category phishing, smishing, phishing, tailgating, baiting, pretexting. Then we have eavesdropping is another category, like another one is spam, malware, denial of service, URL obfuscation, ransomware, and identity theft. Let's begin with the social engineering techniques. There are many methods that are categorized under social engineering techniques. It's very important to know these methods because with them, people can be manipulated into performing actions or revealing confidential information. Remember that when it comes to minimizing your risk exposure to phishing, knowledge is the key. So phishing is when fake web pages are created to fraudulently acquire sensitive information. Smishing is the attempt to collect logins or other sensitive information with a malicious text message. Phishing is when the user is contacted over the phone and the caller pretends to be from a known company or government agency to collect personal information. Tailgating is when the employees are tricked so the user or the attacker can gain physical access to an unauthorized location. Baiting is when the user is offered a kind of a gift, and then the attacker makes the user or agent to perform an insecure action. Pretexting is when the attacker creates a story that convinces the administrator or operator into revealing secret information. Eavesdropping. This is a very common technique that can be easier to perform when you are in a public space. This is when people just listen to your conversation or watch what you're doing on your computer without your authorization. Spam. Spam is unsolicited bulk email. The email is sent to recipients without prior contact. Spam can contain advertisement, phishing attempts, or malware. The most common technique involves spoofing the front field of a message. That means that someone pretends to be someone else. Malware is a malicious software created to make your system do whatever the attacker wants it to do, like steal data, damage your computer, or even the network. Denial of service. This affects a server or router's ability to respond to client requests by making extensive requests and consuming all of its resources until causing a service interruption and make it unavailable to respond. URL obfuscation. An obfuscated URL is a web address that has been obscured or concealed, has been made to imitate the original URL of a legitimate website. It is done to make users access a spoof website rather than the intended destination. Here we have an image where you can see a website and a fake website of the same company. The company is XYZ and the HTTP, the address, it's https xyzcompany.com. That's the real one. Remember, okay, just note that the address has an S at the end of HTTP. That means that the connection is secure. Instead, let's check for the other address, that is the fake one. It has xyz-comp.com. It's very similar to the real one, but it doesn't have HTTPS. The address is very similar, but it's not the same, and people that doesn't know the real one can be tricked into clicking in these kind of fake addresses. Ransomware. Ransomware is a malware designed to deny a user organization access to their computer files by encrypting them and asking for a ransom to provide the encryption key. It is important to know that paying the ransom doesn't reassure that the user or organization will have the information back. Let's see how the ransomware works. Ransomware often starts with a disguised unsolicited email, luring the target to click a link. Then it leverages the flaws into the computer operating system and forces it to run the infectious code. The ransomware code encrypts the data, immobilizes the system, and then the attacker demands payment to decrypt and restore the data. Some attackers also may want to move laterally to the network. They will want to infect any other computers. If you see a message like this one that I see here in red, that's this image that says that you are hacked, that all your personal files has been encrypted, remember, do not click on any link. Do not contact any email address. Do not send any email to the email address that appears there. It might be maybe fake. It might be true, but it's always better to contact us before doing something. Identity theft. The three most common types of identity theft are financial, medical, and online. In this example, I have a fake web page of Bank of America. The attacker just sent an email to the user, and if the user has an account in Bank of America, he will access that link, enter his login information like username and password, and then click sign in. From there, the attackers will be able to see all his personal data, steal the data, and also steal the money. So we have to be very aware of this. Right now that we're familiar with some of the cybersecurity attacks, let's move on to the security countermeasures. Most cybersecurity mishaps occur due to user error, and these countermeasures will help the company have accountability of everything and keep the information protected. It's always good to specify policies for people and systems, set up permissions and protections, install firewalls, VPN, antivirus, use authentication methods like digital signatures, passwords, PIN, biometrics, and encryption, and also check for the stability or that the digital certificates are trusted, keeping the hardware and software up to date. Always make the data backups and keep them safe. Log off from systems. Avoid opening unknown or suspicious emails or clicking on a link before making sure it is safe. Encrypting files before sharing them. Avoid saving login information and passwords. User best practices. As a user, I will recommend these best practices to prevent a threat. We should keep in mind these practices, especially if you're traveling or working remotely. Remember that a good user interaction is crucial for keeping the information secure. Do not connect to a public Wi-Fi just because it is available. You don't know who is running it. Always ask the business owner or hotel to verify the network name and password if it is set. Limit your activity while using public Wi-Fi and never connect automatically to it. Look for secure websites to navigate. They begin with HTTPS, as I mentioned before. If the security certificate of a website is not trusted, do not proceed. Do not provide any information through the email or phone if you're not sure who is requesting it. Use secure passwords, or even better, two-factor authentication methods. You can use Duo, Google, or Microsoft authenticators. They provide one-time codes when you are logging in, and these codes are different every time. If working on a public place, make sure no one can see your screen or listening to your conversation. When working with an application, system, or website where you log in, make sure you log off when you're done. Do not click on any attachment or link without making sure the sender is someone you know and the email or phone number is correct. Never leave computer unattended. Always log out from the session or lock the computer when stepping away or leaving. Avoid trying to solve a security issue by yourself. And if you're not sure how to proceed, it is always better to ask. There are some examples that I want to show you so you can have an idea of how an attacker can trick a user. I will show you how to distinguish elicited URLs from genuine links. Check if the sender's email address is legitimate by reviewing the domain extension and check the correct extension of a document. In the first example, I have two websites. One is fake, the other one is real. As I showed you before, always check for the HTTP. Should be with an S at the end. That means that the connection is secure. Also, you have a lock on the left. That means that it's secure as well. If you click on that lock, you will see the digital certificate and all the information of the website. Instead, this one, the fake one, doesn't have the HTTPS, doesn't have the lock. It says not secure as well. And the web addresses are very similar, not the same. The attacker tried to do always the website names very similar just to confuse the user. In the example of the Bank of America, we can see that the Bank of America doesn't have a correct ending on the website. It says like .co.cc instead of .com. That is something to note. As well as doesn't have the HTTPS, doesn't have the lock. And for me, it doesn't look like a good website. We have another example. It's for the PayPal web address. It's a long address. Usually it's not that long. It has, you can see that it has the lock in the website, but doesn't have it at the bottom. If it says that the connection is secure, you should see that lock at the bottom as well. Another examples that I have here is when you receive a pop-up like you need to do an update, like a Java update. Do not click on that link, do not click on that button, do not do anything because this is just fake. When you are navigating online, you will see this kind of pop-ups all the time. So just be careful with that. Don't do anything or click on anything that you're not sure what it is. As well as the other message, the message that says, thank you for reporting this email to your security team. Because of people like you, our company is more secure. Those are messages that we don't send. And if you're receiving it when you're navigating online, remember, online is too wide. Do not click on anything. The attacker might be sending messages just to trick the user. And also another good example that I have here is an antivirus message. Usually you will have this kind of messages because the attacker likes to trick the people with antivirus messages in order for them to click on the link or do an scan or something like that, just to infect the machine. So do not do anything, do not click on any button. It is very common when you are navigating on any website just to see the messages like, oh, you win an iPad, just put your information here, and then you will have an iPad, you will be in a raffle. Don't do it because from there they want to steal your information. And there is also an example of the messages that we receive on the phone or the iPad. There are messages like, congratulations, you have won an iPhone. Click OK here to redeem the offer or something like that. Remember, do not click on anything like that. This is all fake. It is very, very important now that I have these examples here. These are examples that we have to be very aware of this because this is going to our email. Usually the attackers would like to trick the user through the emails. So if you receive a message from the security bank, always check the domain. Remember, they will have a domain, like if it's for Bank of America, remember that we have Bank of America at the end. And this one, for example, has Gmail. That's not trustable. There will be always a sense of urgency. It's very common to see like action required, do it as soon as possible. Do not trust on that. You will always see like spelling and grammar mistakes, especially some links and also attachments. The attachment, if they have PDF and then that X at the end, that means that it's an executable. They're trying to run something in your system. Do not open it and do not click on the link. You can also receive an urgent request for someone you know, maybe your boss. They will have the picture of the person as well, and trying to send you information or requesting information from the company, something like that. Do not trust it. If you see that the email address is not correct, it's different, don't do anything. That's a phishing email. As well as the National Security Department. National Security Department will never ask you for a FaceTime verification, will never ask you for personal information through an email or a phone call. So do not trust on this. Do not click on any link or try to verify something or send information back. And from Outlook, okay, maybe you will receive, there are people that have received information that seems to be from Outlook or messages that seems to be from Outlook. In this, they're just trying to trick the user to make an upgrade or to send some information, activate something. Remember, all of this is fake. Always check for the domain. The domain will never be like Office 365 Protection Services. It will be from Outlook or eoclihas at fedco-usa.com. That's fake. Microsoft Team will never have that domain, so that's fake as well. And check for the spelling mistakes, also the sense of an urgent manner. And here I have the last one on the bottom, an example of when we receive a message. Sometimes people can receive a message from a known person that is requesting some information, but you cannot talk to her or to him because he's busy, he's doing something. Remember, they're trying to trick you, giving you an excuse in order for you to release some sensitive information. Always check for the inconsistent grammar, phrases that are not common, or even just misspelling something. Okay, at this time, I have finished with all my cybersecurity briefing. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please contact us at support@asi-nms.net or at 954-233-2772. And remember, you can also create a ticket on our website, https://asi-nms.net/support.